our new series of recordings called What's Normal. These look at what we expect in physical and emotional development for children between the ages of 2 and 11. For those of you who have not come across us before, I'm Sam. I'm the Clinical Director here at Standing in the Gap. Standing in the Gap is a small charity which started in 2017. We're what's called an early intervention mental health charity. This means we work with children and families before they hit crisis and while they are having wobbles and concerns. Our vision is that every child is emotionally healthy and able to flourish. We support preschool and primary age children and help them manage the big emotions such as fear, anxiety, anger and grief. Our mission is to build emotional wellbeing in children by providing tools and support to children and families. We're a small charity based in Oxfordshire and have been fortunate to get a grant from the Coronavirus Support Fund, which is distributed by the National Lottery, to enable us to make this resource. However, if you found this series useful, please do make us a donation to enable us to continue to make these resources. You can do this via our website using the donation button or text SITG and the amount to 70085. If you'd like to support us regularly, please look at our supporters page on the website for full details. Your support can really help make a difference to children and families. Prior to starting Standing in the Gap, I carried out some research in 3 schools in Banbury in Oxfordshire. This looked at parents' and teachers' views on support for children with mental health distress or difficulties. One of the really clear themes that came out from this research was that parents told us that they didn't really know what normal was. So they weren't sure if it was a problem, or what was a phase, or what was normal for that age. They also told us they wanted to know what were classed as the red flags or concerns, things that they shouldn't ignore, and when they should ask for help. Finally, they told us they didn't know where to go for help, so wanted all this information. We wanted to respond to those concerns and have some generic advice about how children develop, what factors influence all children's development, and what behaviour is a concern or what we class as a red flag. We also wanted to give some really clear information on where to get help. Following on from this, we will look at the children from the ages of 2 to 11 individually and see what's going on, looking at their physical and emotional development and what is normal for that specific age. And at the end of each, I have a section on what can help and actually help with their development. One of the things that parents often ask is, when should I ask for more help for my child? I'd recommend, if you see any of the following behaviours, you have a conversation with your child's school or your GP about getting your child assessed, as they will probably need some more support. If we pick things up early, they can be supported. Behavioural changes don't necessarily mean an underlying significant issue, but they're unlikely to go away on their own. So red flags or behaviours that are cause for concern include a change in behaviour. A normal, happy child becomes withdrawn, quiet, tearful, or you see changes in sleeping habits. A regression in behaviour, so losing a skill that they've already achieved or mastered. This could be they started wetting the bed, or being wet during the day, they're not sleeping, or they're showing less self-care activities than they were before. In school-age children, some of our concerns include appearing low or disinterested, a lack of interest in normal activities or withdrawing from activities they've previously enjoyed can be a concern. Expressing negative views about themselves constantly, not just the situational reaction of, oh, I'm such an idiot, I can't do your maths homework or don't understand things, but instead you're seeing regular negative views about themselves. Any expressions of not wanting to live or carry on living should be classed as a concern. A significant change in weight, either that's a gain or a loss, are a concern. Any obsessions around what they eat, where or how they need to keep clean, bringing in repetitive routines or very fixed routines can be a concern. Any self-destructive behaviours that aren't a one-off in temper, so things like headbanging, scratching themselves, pulling their hair or harming themselves physically, can be a concern. Also, anything as parents that worries you, that you're concerned about, that you need to have a conversation with a professional. So who do I go to for help? If your child is under 5, you can contact your health visitor. If they're at primary school, contact your school health nurse. Both can help support you in your child's development. Here at Standing in the Gap, we're in the process of applying for grants to be able to support more families one-to-one. So please do check out our website and see where we are at and what support we are able to offer. Please try not to Google concerns, as child mental health issues are complex and need to be properly assessed and managed. Also, on the other extreme, don't ignore it. If you're seeing some of the concerns mentioned above, please do ask for help. The earlier you get the help, the better it is for you and your child. We all want children to be able to be emotionally healthy and able to flourish. So how do children develop? Just before we go into the age-specific development, I want to look at a few key issues that impact all children. What we need to remember is children do develop at different rates to each other, so try not to compare. Not all 3-year-olds or all 8-year-olds behave the same. Factors other than development have an impact, as we'll look at in a moment. However, all children do go through development stages, and you learn the basic skills and then build on the more advanced skills. And generally these skills develop in the same order, as each skill builds on the next. So children develop primarily physically, emotionally and socially. A delay in one area can cause a delay in another area. So for example, if there's a delay in language skills, this often impacts the behaviour as the child struggles to communicate and have the big feelings that they're having. The environment a child is in has a huge impact on them. Are they getting age-appropriate stimulation with toys, books, interaction with others? Are their basic needs being met? Do they feel safe and loved? Are there any concerns about physical or emotional neglect? Or any significant conflicts within the house that's going on? As all of these have an impact on the environment the child is in and also on the development. It's a little bit like growing a plant. If you give it enough light, water and the right soil, it flourishes. If you don't, the plant's growth is stunted. Children are the same. They need a good environment to be able to flourish physically and emotionally. Birth order also affects, same as with environment, where the child fits within your family has an impact on their development. Are they the eldest and independent, wanting to be grown up? Or are they the youngest, the baby, the one who everybody helps and does things for? Often these family roles stick with us throughout life. Temperament also has an impact on how children respond and react to situations. If you've ever wondered why you can have two children that are so different, do watch our temperament video, available on the Understanding Your Child part of our website. And there's lots of tips there that can be really helpful in managing children slightly different due to their temperament traits. Another aspect is brain development. We know that by the age of 3, your child's brain is 90% of its adult size. However, there's so much to learn and so much development. We know that brain development can take between 25 to 30 years to grow a fully functioning adult brain. We know our brains grow significantly at 2 specific times. First 3 years and again during the teenage years. And during these times, the brain soaks up lots of information and makes millions of new brain connections. To help your child make sense of the world, it's really important to talk to them. Explain to them what's happening, what you're doing, and also what you want them to do. Please do see our resources on managing change in the Understanding Your Child section of the website. It's got a whole useful bit of information on explaining things and how you walk children through different stages. Secondly, let them know that they are loved and safe. Thirdly, give them a framework to help them understand and process things. Neurobiologists and cognitive psychologists tell us that between 40 and 95% of what we do is habit. So it's worth building in good routines with your child. This can include anything from cleaning their teeth, sitting at the table to eat, or reading books together before they go to bed. By building in patterns, it helps children place activities when initially they can't tell the time. Really important to say that the information in these videos is a guide. If you are concerned about your child's development, whether that's physical or emotional, it's really important you get somebody to review you in person. So in summary, for this first bit, what we've looked at is what behaviours are red flags and need further assessment and shouldn't be ignored. We've looked at where you can go and get help from. We've also looked at what factors affect all children's development. So we said that they're building blocks, one part to another. A delay in one area impacts another area. Environment has an impact, temperament has an impact, and brain development has an impact. We're now going to move on to look at the specific age and consider what's normal physical development, what's normal emotional development, and also what we can do to support development. So looking at 7-year-olds, when we look at their physical development, we know that children at 7 have a well-developed sense of balance and can now enjoy games involving precise movement, so hopscotch or skipping. They're often really good at riding a bike with just 2 wheels or using roller skates. 7-year-olds have an increased stamina, which you can see in things like swimming, gymnastics or martial arts. They can skillfully catch and throw a ball with only one hand, and they can perform simple calculations in their heads. When writing individual letters, they're more clearly differentiated, and capitals and small letters are now in proportion. They can use a large needle to have a go at sewing. 90% of 7-year-olds are dry overnight. However, 10% aren't, and this can be a source of much anxiety and frustration for both children and parents. If you're concerned or struggling with wet or dirty during the night, look at the ERIC website on our resources tab for some fantastic up-to-date information on managing any toileting concerns. Sleep-wise, 7-year-olds need around 10.5 hours of sleep a night. So if they're waking at 6:30 in the morning, they need to be asleep, not just in bed, by 8 p.m. If they're waking at 7, then it needs to be 8:30 and so on. You'll know if your child's had enough sleep and whether they can function effectively. If they're struggling to function, they probably need more sleep. When we look at emotional development in 7-year-olds, we know that they have a clear sense of right and wrong. They know it's wrong to hurt people. Friendships are really important to them, and they form quite close friendships, usually with children of the same sex. 7-year-olds have started now to learn to control their emotions and realise that they can keep their thoughts private and hide their true feelings. They may be at the stage where they're able to speak up for themselves, for example when they're going to the dentist or the doctor. So what can help my 7-year-old develop? Continue to encourage vigorous outdoor play, so swings, climbing frames, lots of opportunities for lots of moving around. Make an obstacle course they can ride their bikes around. Try and provide a range of drawing and craft materials to encourage them to make things. This can just include boxes and recycling materials. Help them make a den with some sticks or chairs and blankets. Involve them in a puppet show, both making the puppets and acting it out. Continue to talk about feelings and emotions and discuss how their day's been. Introducing simple games like highs and lows can be really useful, where you sit down over tea and everybody at the table gives at least one example of a high and a low point in their day. This is a really effective way of helping children to share their feelings and realise that others have a range of feelings about their day as well. Most of all, do enjoy your child as a 7-year-old. Don't keep saying when you're bigger, when you can, when we can do this. Enjoy them as they are. Time goes very quickly and it's really important to enjoy them at this stage.